Welcome dear friends once again, and today we are going to study presiding officer's duty broad outline। तो ये आपके सामने है, इसको हम रीड आउट करेंगे। एज प्रिसाइडिंग ऑफिसर यू आर ओवरऑल इन चार्ज ऑफ द पोलिंग स्टेशन। योर ड्यूटीज आर टू नॉट मिस एनी ऑफ द ट्रेनिंग क्लासेस। जो हमने नहीं किया, हम लोगों ने कोई भी एक क्लास मिस नहीं किया। Keep in ready possession all relevant instructions of the Commission. Fully acquaint yourself with the latest rules and procedures prescribed for the conduct of poll by EVM with VVPAT. Familiarize yourself thoroughly with the operation of the EVM with VVPAT and the functions of various buttons and switches provided therein। ये तो हो गया है। Ensure that while collecting election material, all items have been handed over to you as per the list supplied along with the material as specified in Annexure 3। इसको चेक करना पड़ेगा। Set up the polling station as per specification. Place the BU and VVPAT in the respective voting compartment. You should have a clear idea of the arrangement to be made for setting up of polling station in a proper way, especially to secure secrecy of voting, regulation of voters, queue, protection of poll proceedings free from outside interference, etc. On arrival at the special center, you should also ensure whether your polling station has CAF, CAPF or police arrangement। CAPF Central Armed Police Force or police arrangement। CAPF Central Armed Police Force or police arrangement। You should be aware if there is micro observer and digital camera webcasting facility available at the polling station. Under no circumstances the ballot unit or the control units or VPAT should be placed on the floor. They must be kept on a table. Connect the ballot units and VPATs with their respective units. Demonstrate before the hour fixed for actual commencement of the poll to the candidates agents present that the voting machines are clear and don't contain any votes. Conduct mock poll or polling agents to ensure that the EVM with the VVPAT is in perfect working condition by letting the polling agents record a few votes randomly for each of the contesting candidates. Tally the CU result and VVPAT paper slips count. Conduct mock poll for the polling stations to ensure that the EVM with the VVPAT is in perfect working condition by letting the polling agents record a few votes randomly for each of the contesting candidates. Tally the CU result and VVPAT paper slips count. The Commission's latest guidelines stipulates that at least 50 votes will be cast in mock poll and at least one vote will be cast against each candidate, including nota. Clear the mock poll result from control unit and remove the mock poll slips from the VVPAT drop box. Prepare the certificate of mock poll. Part 1 of Annexure 5. You should be clear that according to the Commission's instructions, if there is no mock poll at a polling station, there shall be no poll at the polling station. Remember that the votes recorded at such mock poll must be cleared from the control unit of the voting machine so that no data relating to the mock poll remains in the memory of the machine, and paper slips must be taken out from the VVPAT drop box so that drop box of the VVPAT is empty after the mock poll. Before the first voter signs in Form 17A register of votes, first voter signs in 17A register of voters, the polling officer 1 shall check with the presiding officer and record inked in Form 17A that total is in the control unit is checked and found to be 0. Ensure that the green paper seal fixed in the control unit for Lok Sabha elections only the candidates for Lok Sabha elections or their polling agents who are present at the polling station at that time affix their signature. And similarly on the green paper seal fixed in the control unit for assembly elections, the candidate for assembly elections or their polling agents alone affix the signature. Demonstrate to the polling agents and other persons present that the marked copy of the electoral roll to be used for marking the names of the electors who are allowed to vote does not contain any remarks other than those used for issuing postal ballot paper. Demonstrate the polling agents and other persons present that the marked copy of the electoral roll to be used for marking the names of electors who are allowed to vote does not contain any remarks other than those used for issuing postal ballot papers. See the voting compartment have been properly arranged with appropriate posters pasted outside to indicate clearly the election pertaining to which the ballot unit and VVPAT is kept inside. See that the voting compartment have been properly arranged with appropriate posters pasted outside to indicate clearly the election pertaining to which the ballot unit and VVPAT is kept inside. Next point, ensure that the cables to connect the ballot units and VVPATs with their respective control units are placed in such a way that the cable is visible to everyone, while also ensuring that the voters are not required to cross over them during their movements inside the polling station, and the entire length of the connecting cable is visible to all and not hidden. It should also be ensured that the cable does not hang loose under the voting compartment. Tape the connecting wires of VU and VVPAT at the leg of the table with the transparent adhesive tape of half-inch width in such a manner that the wires don't hang in the air, so that the load of hanging wire does not impact the connecting switches of the VU and VVPAT. Ensure that all the members of the polling party are in position well before the commencement of the poll, and all the materials and records are kept handy and ready to commence a poll at the appointed hour. Prevent any member of the polling party or any polling agent from wandering here or there inside the polling station, and to keep them seated in their allocated seats. Commence the actual poll at the stroke of the hour fixed for commencement of poll. Before commencing the poll, the candidates or their agents who are present at the polling station at the polling officer should be briefed about the maintenance of secrecy of vote. The provisions of Section 128 of the Representation of the People Act 1951 should be read out and brought to their notice. Read out the declaration aloud to the hearing of all persons present in polling station and sign on the declaration and obtain signature of such polling agents as are present and willing to affix the same. If any polling agent decline to affix his signature, the presiding officer should record the names of such polling agents with, without declaration and make a declaration in a prescribed form about the demonstration of the voting machine, marked copy of the electoral roll and register of voters, and obtain signature of the candidates or their polling agents. The polling agent signature मना करो. During the progress of poll, keep a close watch on the movement of voters and be alert and watchful so that no voter goes away without voting, and go on recording the relevant events as and when they occur in the presiding officer's diary. Ensure that during the first hour of the poll, when polling is generally brisk, no member of the polling party shows any slackness in the duties allocated to them. Yes. Check the total votes casted periodically with the control unit and ensure that voters have voted according to their serial number and given on the voter slips. Ensure that the simultaneous elections copies of Form 17C and Annexure 8 for parliamentary elections are supplied to polling agents in the parliamentary constituency only, and copies of Form 17C for the assembly elections are given only to the agents of candidates of assembly constituencies. कुल मिला के 17C एजेंट्स को देना है. At regular At regular intervals, check the ballot units and VVPAT to ensure that the voters have not tampered with to ensure that the voters have not tampered. दोनों की को चेक करें. Tampered with any manner. You have a right under Rule 49Q of the Conduct of Elections Rule 1961 to ensure the voting compartment in such cases and to take such steps as you may consider necessary to ensure that the ballot unit is not tampered with or there and interfered with any way, and the poll progresses smoothly and orderly. However, be careful that whenever you enter the voting compartment, don't enter the compartment alone. You should permit and take one or two or more polling agents. However, be careful that whenever you enter the voting compartment, don't enter the compartment alone. You should permit and take one or two more polling agents present at the polling station to accompany you. To regulate the proceedings in the polling station for peaceful and smooth conduct of poll, much tact is required, but at the same time you should be firm and impartial. If any incident takes place at a polling station and is not reported by you but reported from any other source, the Commission may take serious view and initiate action against you. Close the poll at hour fixed for the purpose by the election commission, even if the commencement of poll was delayed for any reason. Close the poll at the hour fixed for the purpose by the election commission, even if the commencement of poll was delayed for any reason. However, all voters present at the polling station at the closing hour of poll shall be allowed to vote, even if that means continuing of poll for some more time. It should also be ensured that after the closing hour of poll nobody joins the queue of votes. For this purpose, you should distribute numbered slips signed by you to all the voters standing in the queues, starting with such distribution of slips from last person standing in the queues. After all, last person को एक नंबर देंगे इस तरीके से. Now, after the all electors have cast their votes and no one is left, then the polling officers shall put a red ink after entry of last sign their giving date and time. Press close button of the control unit after all voters in queue cast their votes. You should loudly announce that the closing hour of the poll before 15 minutes of the closing hour. इसको पढ़ना है. Ensure at the close of poll you are required to prepare an account of votes recorded. Accounts of in part first of 17C and obtain the signature of the polling agents. In the column specified for the purpose in the form. Authenticate copies of such account of votes recorded are required to be given to the polling agents. Each candidate present at the polling station. You are also required to make a declaration regarding furnishing of such copies to candidates agents in the form prescribed by the commission. Okay. After the close of poll, the voting machine with the VVPAT and all election papers should be sealed and secured in the manner prescribed by the Election Commission. Candidates or their agents present at the polling station shall also be allowed to affix their seals if they so desire on the voting machines and VVPAT at the election papers in addition to your seals. You should carefully follow the relevant instructions about the sealing and securing of voting machines and VVPAT and election papers so that no mistakes is committed. It is your personal responsibility to hand over the duly sealed and secured voting machines and VVPAT and all election papers to the officers responsible for the collection thereof under proper receipt. Your duties in brief at various stages are given in Annexure 9 under the different heads for your ready reference and convenience. Check memos. इसको जरूर देख लें इस पॉइंट को. Your duties in brief at various stages are given in Annexure 9 under the different heads for ready reference and convenience. Check memo to ensure that you have fulfilled the various statutory requirements in connection with the elections. The Election Commission has drawn up a check memo for you which is given in Annexure 10 The said check memo should be properly maintained by you. इसको भी देखिए most point. You are permitted to carry your mobile phone in silent mode. Closing of the poll. ये presiding officer का था. Now the closing of the poll.